I died choking on my own vomit in a jail cell that reeked of piss and regret, the guards laughing outside the bars because everyone knew I was guilty, even me, until the very end. My last thought wasn't of the embezzlement charges that had railroaded me or the noose of despair I tied myself with a bedsheet. It was Mom's voice, cold as a winter wind off the Hudson, whispering to Sarah on that final phone call I'd overheard. "It's better this way, darling." She was always the weak one. But fuck that. Death spat me back out like a bad burrito, slamming me into the body of 18-year-old me, heart pounding like a jackhammer, the alarm clock blaring, "Happy birthday," in that go-dofful synthesized cheer, and there on my nightstand sat the chipped ceramic mug with "World's Okayest Daughter" scrawled in faded Sharpie. My eyes snapped open to the familiar popcorn ceiling of my bedroom in our Upper East Side brownstone, the kind of place where doormen tipped their hats and nannies whispered about trust funds. It was June 15th, 2015, my 18th birthday, the day everything cracked wide open in my first life. The air smelled like fresh coffee from downstairs and the faint floral of Mom's Chanel No. 5 wafting up from the kitchen. I bolted upright, sheets tangling around my legs, and dry heaved into the wastebasket. Not from fear, but from the sheer vertigo of it all. I'd been 32 when the bars closed around me, my life a smoldering wreck after 10 years of clawing through the ashes of betrayal. Now, skinny arms, acne scars I hadn't thought about in a decade, and a phone buzzing with texts from high school friends I barely remembered. "Natalie, you up? Mom's got a surprise." Sarah's voice floated up the stairs, all sugar and Southern Belle lilt she'd picked up from her debutante phase at Spence School. My little sister, 11 months younger, but light years ahead in Mom's ledger of favorites. I stumbled to the mirror, staring at the reflection that wasn't quite mine anymore, wide hazel eyes, choppy brown hair I'd buzzed off in prison out of spite, now back to its awkward bob. My hands trembled as I touched my face. This was real. The second chance I'd begged for in those final, hallucinatory moments. God, the universe, whatever sadistic force was pulling the strings, had delivered. Downstairs, the kitchen gleamed like a spread from Architectural Digest, white quartz counters, sub-zero fridge humming softly, and a spread of catered brunch that could have fed a block party. Mom stood at the island, elegant in her silk blouse and pearls, slicing strawberries with surgical precision. At 45, she was the picture of wasp perfection. Victoria Kensington, née Harrington, heir to old oil money that Dad had parlayed into Kensington Capital, our family's hedge fund empire. Dad was gone. Car accident when I was 10, or so the story went. A drunk driver on the FDR, they said. I never questioned it then. Now, every nerve ending screamed otherwise. "Happy birthday, darling," Mom said, air-kissing my cheek without looking up. Her smile was a masterpiece of Botox and indifference. "Sarah's been dying to show you her gift. Isn't it just divine?" Sarah bounced in from the garage door, keys jingling like victory bells. She was the golden child. Blonde waves, cheerleader legs, and that effortless charm that made teachers overlook her plagiarized essays. In her hand, the fob to a Lexus LC 500, midnight blue, $117,000 sticker price, the kind of car that whispered, "I own this city," from the moment it purred to life. "Told you I'd get the upgrade, Nat," she cooed, tossing her hair. "Mom said I earned it straight A's, that internship at Goldman." "What did you get?" "Oh, wait, the mug? Adorable." "Totally you." "The mug. Yeah. A thrift store find from some tag sale in the Hamptons, painted with that snarky phrase like it was a joke. In my first life, I'd laughed it off, cracked a quip about being the family screw-up. But now, with the memory of that cell door slamming shut fresh as a fresh bruise, it hit like a gut punch. This wasn't just favoritism, it was the first brick in the wall they'd built to bury me alive. "Love it," I muttered, forcing a grin as I lifted the mug. Inside, my mind raced. I knew what came next in this timeline, the summer internship at Kensington Capital that Sarah waltzed into while I scraped by at a coffee shop. The mistake, on the books, a phantom wire transfer I'd take the fall for, pinned on me by forged emails. Mom's whispers to the board, Sarah's tears on cue at the family meeting, and me, spiraling into addiction, bad decisions, until the SEC knocked and my world imploded, culminating in that cell where I'd scratched Y into the wall with a contraband nail until my fingers bled. Not this time. I sipped the coffee, black, bitter as my resolve, and watched them chatter about Sarah's driving lesson. Mom's eyes flicked to me once, sharp as a scalpel, like she sensed the shift. "Everything all right, Natalie? You look peaked." "Just thrilled," I said, clinking the mug against the counter a little too hard. "For Sarah." "Hey, speaking of surprises, remember Dad's old files in the attic? I was thinking of digging through them today. For old time's sake." The room went still. Sarah's laugh died mid-note, and Mom's knife paused mid-slice. "The attic? Darling, that's all dust and ghosts. Why bother?" Because I knew now. In my first death, I'd pieced it together too late. Dad hadn't died in a crash. He'd been pushed out, ruined by Mom's affair with her business partner, a sleaze named Harlan Voss who'd siphoned funds and framed Dad for it. Suicide, they called it when he jumped from the Triborough Bridge. But the files, the ones Mom had accidentally flooded out years ago, held the proof. Emails, ledgers, a letter Dad wrote to me, his little fighter, begging me to expose them if anything happened. Up in the attic, amid moth-eaten boxes and the faint scent of Dad's pipe tobacco, I found it. Not flooded, just hidden behind a false panel I'd overlooked as a kid. The letter was yellowed, his handwriting steady. "Natalie, if you're reading this, they've won the first round. Mom's in bed with Voss, literally and figuratively. The accounts are dirty. Protect Sarah, she's innocent in this. But fight for us, kid. You're the one with the spine." Innocent? Bullshit. In my first life, Sarah had been Voss's pawn from day one, forging my signatures, planting the digital trails that led the feds to my door. She'd cried at my trial, sure, but those tears were crocodile dry when the inheritance cleared. By evening, as Sarah revved the Lexus in the driveway, tires squealing like a taunt, I'd scanned every page onto a burner drive. My hands shook not from fear, but fury. This wasn't just payback, it was excavation. I'd been the scapegoat, the black sheep gobbled up to feed their golden goose. Mom favored Sarah because Sarah was Voss's blood. The affair started before Dad's accident. I'd seen the paternity test in the files, buried under tax returns. My half-sister, Mom's dirty little secret, bought with a luxury car and a blind eye to the rot. That night, I lay awake plotting. No rash moves, not yet. In my first life, rage had blinded me, led to the bar fights and the coke binges that sealed my fate. This time, surgical. I'd enroll in that internship, but on my terms. Charm the board, audit the books quietly. And Sarah? I'd start small, whispers, doubts, the kind of gaslighting that ate at you from the inside. The next morning, over avocado toast, I dropped the first pebble. "Hey, Sarah, that Lexus is killer. But you know Dad always said luxury's a trap. Remember his old Jag? Total lemon after the first fender bender." She rolled her eyes, but Mom's forecovered. "Good. Plant the seed." Weeks blurred into a calculated grind. I aced my finals at Dalton, straight A's I'd faked through in the original timeline with Adderall and all-nighters. The internship at Kensington Capital? I volunteered for it, batting my lashes at Uncle Theo, the CFO, who'd always had a soft spot for me. "I want to learn the ropes, make Dad proud," I said, and he folded like cheap origami. The office was a glass and steel fortress on Park Avenue, traders barking into headsets, screens flickering with Bloomberg feeds. Sarah was there too, filing papers and flirting with the analysts, her internship more socialite tour than work. But I dove in spreadsheets, ledgers, the digital veins of a fund. And there it was, buried in the sub-accounts, Voss Holdings siphoning pennies into pounds. Mom's signature on the approvals, Sarah's IP address on the dummy transfers. One lunch break, I cornered Sarah in the ladies' room. Marble sinks, eucalyptus-scented air freshener. Ironic, given the stink I was about to stir. "Nice necklace," I said, nodding at the diamond choker glinting at her throat. Voss give you that? Or was it a thank you from Mom for the family merger? Her reflection paled. What the hell, Nat? Jealous much? It's just a gift. For Daddy's little girl. I leaned in, voice low. Question is, which daddy? The one in the ground, or the one signing your tuition checks? She slapped me, hard, the crack echoing off the tiles. You're crazy. Stay out of it. But her eyes darted, and I tasted blood from my lip. First blood to me. Back at the desk, I emailed an anonymous tip to the compliance officer. Check Voss Holdings. Patterns matched 2005 discrepancies. No names, just enough to light the fuse. By month's end, the first crack showed. Mom called a family dinner at Le Bernardin, lobster thermidor and white burgundy, the power plays hidden in small talk. Natalie's doing wonders at the firm. Uncle Theo boomed, clinking glasses. Mom's smile was tight. Yes, well, ambition's a double-edged sword. Sarah sulked over her escargot, texting under the table. I caught Voss's name on her screen. Everything okay, sis? You look like you swallowed a snail whole. Shut up, she hissed. Mom shot me a warning glance, but I just sipped my wine. Let them squirm. That night, in the penthouse. Wait, no. Our brownstone had expanded in my mind to match the opulence. I hacked Sarah's phone. Child's play with the old skills I'd picked up in prison, back when boredom bred brilliance. Text to Voss. She knows something. Handle it. His reply, like before. Quiet. Like before.
Des accidents.
My frame-up. The pattern was clear. They erased threats with ink and implication, not bullets. But I wasn't going quiet. My first real move came on the 4th of July. Fireworks over the East River, the city pulsing with that electric American chaos, hot dogs and hubris. We were at the Hamptons' house, Mom hosting her annual bash, hedge fund bros in polos, socialites in sundresses, the air thick with sunscreen and schadenfreude. Sarah preened by the pool, Lexus parked like a trophy in the drive. I slipped away to the study, Dad's old haunt, and uploaded the files to a dark web drop, watermarked with Voss's face, morphed into a cartoon villain for flair. By midnight, as bottle rockets whistled, my phone lit up. Anonymous leaks hitting Forbes, Bloomberg, Kensington Capital linked to offshore shenanigans, Voss Holdings in the crosshairs. No mention of Mom. Not yet. Just enough to make Harlan sweat. He did. The next day, he showed at the house unannounced, face like thunder. Mom met him in the foyer, voices low but sharp. I eavesdropped from the stairs, heart hammering. The girl's digging, Victoria. We can't have another incident. She's 18, Harlan. A phase. Sarah will handle her like always.
Sarah.
My sweet, spoiled half-sister, groomed for this since the womb. The betrayal burned deeper than the leaks. She'd known about Dad, about me. In the files, a photo, her at 5, grinning on Voss's knee while Mom and Dad posed stiffly for Christmas cards. Family portrait, my ass. I confronted her on the beach that evening, waves crashing like accusations. You let them pin it on me last time. Watched me rot. She laughed, a brittle sound whipped by the wind. Last time? God, Nat, you're unhinged. Therapy stat. Mom's paying. I grabbed her arm, hard enough to bruise. The test, Sarah. AB negative blood type. Dad was O positive. You're his?
No.
You're the spare tire he rolled in to replace the air. Her slap this time was weaker, tears smearing mascara. You don't get it. Mom chose me because I fit. You? You're the mistake, the one who asks questions. The words landed like hooks. In my first life, I'd believed it. The outsider, the tomboy who preferred Dad's fishing trips to Mom's galas.
But now? Fuel.
Watch me fit now, I whispered, releasing her. Into your grave. The controversy ignited like dry tinder. SEC inquiries trickled in, reporters sniffing around Kensington Capital. Mom doubled down, private jets to D.C. for consultations, lawyers thicker than roaches. Sarah withdrew, her Instagram going dark, the Lexus gathering dust in the garage. I played the dutiful daughter, interning harder, charming the investigators with concerned whistleblower vibes. Just want what's right for the family legacy, I'd say, eyes wide. But the decisions, the real ones, nod at me. Leak more? Risk dragging innocence down? Uncle Theo was clean, but his pension tied to the fund. Seduce Voss's secrets out of a junior exec? I'd flirted with that in college once, regretted it like acid reflux.
No.
Clean cuts. August brought the storm. A board meeting I wasn't supposed to attend. Crashed it with a forged invite, badge clipped from Sarah's desk. The conference room. Walnut panels, tension thick as fog. Mom at the head, Voss on her flank, eyes like slits when I breezed in. Natalie? This is executive. Family business. I cut in, sliding into a seat. Dad's seat, actually. Murmurs rippled. I pulled up the drive on my laptop, projected, crisp PDFs of the ledgers. Voss Holdings, $2.3 million diverted, 2005 to 2015. Signatures?
Mom's.
Approvals? Sarah's login. And Dad? Framed to cover it. His suicide note. Forged. Ballistics on the bridge rail show no fingerprints but Harlan's. Chaos erupted. Voss lunged, but security, my call to the lobby, hauled him back. Mom's face drained to ash. Lies, Natalie. Hysteria. Read the letter. I tossed the printout. His words echoed. Fight for us, kid. The board voted that hour. Voss out, audit in. Mom suspended pending review. Sarah? MIA, holed up in the city with her friends. Vindication tasted like cheap bourbon, sharp, burning. But as cops swarmed the brownstone that night, cuffing Voss for questioning, Mom cornered me in the study. You think this fixes you? You're destroying us. All for spite. Spite. I laughed, cold. You destroyed Dad. Framed me. For her. Eyes narrowing, she spat the twist I'd half suspected. Sarah's not his.
But you.
You were always Harrington blood. The fighter. I chose her because she wouldn't question.
You?
You'd burn it all down. Like now. The room spun. Me. The true heir, the spine Dad saw. Her fear of that very strength had birthed the betrayal. Not favoritism, self-preservation. You could have chosen me, I said, voice breaking for the first time. Too late. She straightened, regal even in ruin. But blood's blood. The fun's yours if you let her go.
Sarah.
Innocent?
No.
Complicit. But the look in Mom's eyes, cracked porcelain, stirred something. Mercy? Or the smarter play? Dawn broke over the skyline as Voss's chopper lifted off, fleeing to the Caymans, no doubt.
Sarah texted, I'm sorry.
Meet. The address. Our old playground in Central Park. I went, armed with nothing but the mug, shattered now, edges sharp. She waited on the carousel, rain starting to spit.
Net så vitenskapelig.
I didn't know about Dad. Voss lied to me. Lies run in the family. I stepped closer. But you knew about me. The transfers.
Tears.
Real ones, maybe. Mom said it was a game. To toughen you up. Bullshit. But the twist hit. In the files, a second test, Sarah's, positive for a genetic marker Dad carried. Chimerism?
Or.
Twins? Absurd. But the math. 11 months apart, Mom's miracle preemies. We'd shared a womb, split souls. Forgive, she whispered. My hand tightened on the shard. Controversial choice. And here, blood on the grass, a tabloid tragedy.
Or.
Rebuild. With the real heir, me, and the sister who could be redeemed. I dropped the mug. Start by testifying. Full truth. She nodded, and for the first time, I saw Dad in her eyes. The empire crumbled, then reformed. Mom did time. White collar, country club adjacent. Voss extradited, funds seized. I took the reins at 22, Natalie Kensington, the phoenix in pearls. Sarah? Partner, eventually therapy, truth commissions. We drove the Lexus together once, top down on the Pacific Coast Highway, wind whipping away the ghosts. But some mornings, I wake to that birthday alarm, mug shards in my dreams. Second chances aren't clean. They're just the edge of the blade you learn to wield. The boardroom coup was just the opening act. The real drama unfolded in the fallout, a slow-burn spectacle that turned our gilded cage into a pressure cooker. With Voss in cuffs and Mom's name splashed across the Post's front page, hedge fund heiress and embezzlement scandal, the Kensington name became tabloid catnip. Reporters camped outside the brownstone like hyenas, drones buzzing the rooftop deck. I fielded calls from CNN, dodged TMZ vans on my runs through the park. Natalie, was it revenge for Daddy's death? They'd shout, mics thrusting like spears. Revenge? Hell yes. But layered, like a seven-figure derivative, sweet on the surface, toxic underneath. In my first life, I'd crumbled under the scrutiny, retreating to dive bars and denial. This time I leaned in, hired a PR shark named Lena Vasquez, a Cuban firebrand who'd shredded reputations from Wall Street to Hollywood. Own the narrative, chica, she growled over espresso at Sant Ambrius. You're not the victim, you're the vigilante. Vigilante. It stuck. My first interview, Fox Business, prime time, I sat poised in a navy sheath, hair sleek, no trace of the prison buzz cut. My father's death wasn't an accident, I said, voice steady as the ticker scrolling behind me. It was murder by spreadsheet. And I won't let it happen again. Ratings spiked. Hashtags trended. Kensington comeback. Offers poured in. Book deals, TED Talks, even a Netflix true crime pitch. But glory's a double-edged sword. Sarah vanished into rehab, Mom's connections, a discreet spot in Connecticut with ocean views and group therapy. For stress, the statement read. Bullshit. It was detox from the lies, the pills she'd popped to keep the facade cracking free. I visited once, the facility's lobby smelling like lavender and privilege. She looked small in her cashmere sweater, eyes red-rimmed. You hate me. Worse, I admitted, sinking into the armchair. I pity you. Groomed to be the puppet, strings cut now, what's left? Her laugh was hollow. The truth?
Voss was my bio dad, yeah.
Mom told me after you. In your first time. Said it was why you went nuts.
But I chose it, Nat.
The easy path. Chose it. The words echoed Dad's letter. Protect Sarah. She's innocent. But innocence is a luxury, not a birthright.
Choose again, I said.
Testify when the trial hits. Or fade.
She nodded, tentative.
A seed, maybe. Or poison ivy. Back in the city, the fund teetered. Uncle Theo stepped up as interim CEO, but whispers of dissolution haunted the halls. I audited everything. Nights blurring into dawn, Red Bull and rage my fuel. Found more rot. Kickbacks to politicians, insider trades that could have tanked the S&P. Each discovery a gut twist, but I dole them out surgically, press releases, FOIA requests, a whistleblower app that went viral. Mom's trial prep was the real circus. Arraigned in federal court, she glided in like Grace Kelly, Chanel suit, no handcuffs, bail posted in wire transfers. I testified first, the stand a wooden guillotine under fluorescent glare. She knew, I said, meeting her eyes across the room. About Voss, the frames. She chose silence to protect her. Lifestyle. The prosecutor, a bulldog named Ramirez, hammered it home. Motive means malice. Mom's defense? A grieving widow, manipulated by a lover. Tears on cue, handkerchief dabbing. Jurors ate it up, half the panel from Staten Island, suckers for sob stories. But I had aces. The day before closing, I leaked the affair tapes, Voss's own words, slurred over scotch in a bugged hotel suite. Victoria's the brains. Kidnapped the old man's fortune. Birthed my ticket in. Illegally obtained?
Sure.
Morally gray? Absolutely. But in America's Coliseum of Justice, controversy sells seats. The verdict, guilty on 3 counts, wire fraud, conspiracy, obstruction. 5 years, minimum security in Otisville. As they let her out, She paused by the bar. "Proud of you, Natalie," she murmured. "Finally playing the game." "Proud," I whispered back. "This isn't a game. It's checkmate." Outside, flashbulbs exploded. Sarah waited in the crowd, gaunt but standing. "I told them everything," she said, voice cracking. "About the signatures. Voss's coaching. Redemption's first step." We hugged, awkward, bone-thin, and for a heartbeat, I glimpsed the twins we might have been. But trust? That's a long con. The fun survived, reborn as Kensington legacy partners, with me at the helm by 23. Wall Street skeptics called it a vanity project. I called it therapy. Hired ethical hackers, transparent ledgers, a scholarship fund in Dad's name for kids from broken homes. Sarah joined as compliance officer, irony thick as fog. Her Lexus traded for a sensible Audi, leased on her own dime. But tension simmered. Late nights, I'd catch her staring at old photos, Mom's smile a ghost. "Was it worth it?" she'd ask. "Worth what?" The mug. I'd quip, but the edge lingered. Controversial calls piled up. Fire loyalists who'd turned blind eyes? Sue Voss's cronies, bankrupting families? Each yes carved a little more of the old me away. Fall hit, leaves turning in Central Park like turning tides. A gala at the Met, fundraiser for victims of financial fraud, my baby. Black tie, champagne flutes, the elite circling like sharks. I worked the room in emerald silk, Natalie's armor, charming senators and shaming CEOs. Sarah stuck close, her gown a muted gray, penance chic. Then Voss's lawyer approached, slick as oil. "Settle, Miss Kensington. Harlan's offering restitution. Walk away clean." "Clean?" I laughed low. "Tell him to rot in extradition hell. We're coming for the Caymans next." He slunk off, but the seed of doubt sprouted. That night, back home, Sarah confessed over takeout lo mein. He called me. Said you destroy everything, us included.
Us.
The word twisted. "And you believe him?" She shrugged. "Blood's thicker." The argument exploded. Plates shattering, accusations flying. "You chose him once," I yelled. "Framed me. Let me hang." "I was a kid," she screamed back. "Mom's pawn. You're doing the same, using me to gut them all." Truth stung. I stormed out, pounding pavement till dawn, the city a blur of neon and noise. America's underbelly, the grind that births billionaires and breaks them. By sunrise, decision crystallized. Pull back. Not mercy strategy. Expose Voss, but spare the small fry. Let Sarah lead a branch office distance test. Winter thawed into spring, the trial's echoes fading. Mom wrote from Otisville, letters crisp, contrite. "I was scared, Natalie, of losing control. You were always the mirror to my flaws." "Forgiveness? Not yet." But I replied, "Flaws make fighters." Sarah bloomed in her role, rooting out a minor scam in the Midwest office. Teamwork, she toasted at our belated birthday dinner, mugs swapped for champagne flutes. Yet the tension coiled, a spring waiting to snap. Whispers from insiders, Voss countersuing, alleging defamation. A mole in our ranks? Paranoia or prescience? May arrived, humid and heavy. An envelope slipped under the door, no postmark. Inside, a paternity test rerun, courtesy of a private lab. Sarah's DNA, 99.9% match to Dad. Chimerism debunked. Mom's lie exposed. But the note clipped to it? Voss's scrawl. Twins?
No.
But she killed for you once. Ask why.
Killed.
Dad. My pulse thundered. Confront Mom? Or bait the trap? I chose the hook. Met Voss's go-between in a dive bar in Hell's Kitchen, sticky floors, jukebox blaring Springsteen. "What game now?" I demanded. He grinned, yellow teeth. "Your ma pushed him. That night on the bridge." "For the girls," she said. "But which one?" The bomb dropped. Mom hadn't just framed Dad. She'd ended him. For Sarah? For me? The ambiguity gnawed. Racing to Otisville, barbed wire blurring past, I faced her in the visitor's room. plexiglass and regret. Did you? Her pause was eternity.
Yes.
He found out about Harlan the baby. Threatened to take you both. I chose. Chose who? You, Natalie.
The heir.
Sarah was the mistake. The leverage gone wrong. I favored her to keep you safe. Distract him. The world inverted. All the slights, the mug, the Lexus, a smokescreen to shield me? Or manipulate. Lies. I breathed. Believe what you will. She pressed her palm to the glass. But fight smart. He's coming for you both.
Voss.
The real villain. Strings pulled from exile. Back in the city, I armed up, private security, cyber walls. Sarah and I bunkered, sisters by siege. If it's true, she started. It's not over, I finished. We end it together. The climax brewed in a warehouse on the waterfront. Voss smuggled back, desperate for a deal. Tip from a bribed guard. We went in wired, feds in the shadows. He waited, gaunt in a folding chair, flanked by muscle. Ladies. Family reunion. Confession time, I said, recorder whirring. Sarah beside me, steel in her spine. He laughed. Your mom's the killer. I just profited. The shot came from the dark, silencer whisper. Sarah crumpled, red blooming on her dress.
No.
Chaos. Feds swarming, Voss tackled. But she bled out in my arms, eyes locking on mine.
Shows. You.
Twist's cruel blade. Mom's favor for Sarah, a decoy. The real golden child, me, baited into the storm. Voss confessed everything. The push, the frames, Mom's complicity. Hanged himself in holding, the coward. I buried Sarah under spring oaks. The Lexus sold to fund her foundation. Mom paroled early for good behavior. But we met once, oceans apart. It was for you, she insisted. I walked away. The fund thrived, but I? A ghost in the machine. Second life, first scars. Revenge's aftertaste, hollow victory, laced with what-ifs. Yet in the quiet, Dad's letter whispers. Fight on, kid. Grief hit like a market crash, sudden, total, wiping out the fragile portfolio of hope I'd built with Sarah. The funeral was a media circus. St. Patrick's Cathedral packed with Wall Street wolves in wolf's clothing, eulogies dripping hypocrisy. I stood at the altar in black crepe, the Kensington name etched in marble like a scar, and delivered her words back to the crowd. She chose me. Whispers rippled, scandal sequel. Mom, in the front pew on compassionate release, dabbed eyes dry as dust. Her for you echoed hollow, a dividend unpaid. After, the brownstone felt like a tomb. Echoes of laughter turned to ghosts. I sold it, the Upper East Side albatross, and decamped to a loft in Brooklyn, exposed brick, skyline views without the pretension. Williamsburg's grit suited the new me, craft breweries and street art, a far cry from Park Avenue polish. There, amid the hum of the L train, I rebuilt. Not just the fund, myself. Kensington Legacy Partners morphed under my hand. ESG focus, community boards, no more offshore shadows. I testified before Congress on white-collar crime, my face on C-SPAN, voice cracking only once when I named Sarah. She was the conscience I didn't know I needed. Bills passed in her honor, Sarah's law, mandating audits for family firms. Controversy flared. Conservatives cried nanny state. Liberals hailed the Kensington reckoning. I thrived on the fire, the pushback fueling late-night strategy sessions with Lena. But Mom's shadow loomed. Paroled to a halfway house in Westchester, she petitioned for contact, letters first, then visits. I ignored the former, dreaded the latter. She's her blood, Uncle Theo urged over steak at Peter Luger. Forgive, or it eats you. Forgiveness is for saints, I shot back. I'm just settling scores. The score with Voss was settled. His empire crumbled in absentia, assets frozen, Cayman vaults cracked open. But his dying words, scrawled in a suicide note the feds leaked. Victoria did it for the girl who fought back. The other? Collateral. Sarah, collateral. The twist twisted deeper, carving doubt into certainty. Had Mom's favoritism been reverse psychology, a brutal forge to temper me? I drove to Westchester on a gray November afternoon, wipers slapping rain like accusations. The halfway house squatted on a manicured lawn, half prison, half spa. Mom waited in the common room, thinner, grayer, but eyes still sharp. You came. Closure, I said, taking the vinyl seat across the table. No plexiglass now, just space, vast and unforgiving. She leaned forward.
Sarah.
I never wanted that. Voss's men, they were cleaning house. I tried to warn her. Warn? By pushing Dad? Framing me? Her sigh was a deflated empire. Your father discovered the affair early. Before Sarah. He would have taken you, left me penniless. I panicked. The accident was staged, yes. Harlan's idea. But I did it to keep you close. Sarah was. Insurance. Distract him with the perfect one. So he'd cling to his fighter. Fighter. Dad's word, weaponized. You let me rot in that cell. To toughen you. Like him. I knew you'd break free, eventually. Madness. Maternal calculus. Trading daughters like derivatives. And Sarah? Collateral. She echoed Voss, unflinching. But she chose wrong. You chose right. I stood, chair scraping. You're right. My hell. Outside, rain sheeted down, blurring the drive back. Closure?
Nah.
Just more fuel. The new controversy brewed in the boardroom. A proxy fight from old guard loyalists, smelling blood in the water. Girl CEO too green. They grumbled in leaked memos. I countered with data. Returns up 15%, scandals down to 0. But the real bomb? A tell-all from Mom's cellmate, a disgraced banker spilling secrets of the Kensington matriarch. Fabricated? Half-true? It painted me as the vengeful spawn, Sarah the tragic pawn. Lena spun it. Embrace the drama. True crime sells. We leaned into a podcast, mugged to millions, my story in raw cuts. Listeners devoured it. The hook of the birthday mug, the twist of twin lies, the gut punch of Sarah's blood on the docks. Sponsors flooded, therapy apps, security firms. I donated proceeds to fraud victims, but the checks felt dirty. Winter solstice brought the Galleretics, this time at the Brooklyn Museum, edgier crowd, tech bros, artists, activists. I wore red velvet, a slash of defiance, and danced with a venture capitalist named Jax, tall, tattooed, 0 fucks for pedigrees. Heard your pod, he said, hand warm on my waist. Badass. But you ever sleep? Sleep's for the dead, I quipped. We hooked up that night, raw, reclaiming, his loft smelling of weed and possibility. First time since. Well, the before. No ghosts, just gasps. Morning after, tangled sheets, he traced my scars, literal, from the cell fights I'd omitted. What's the endgame, Nat? Revenge done. What's next? Power, I murmured. But doubt crept. Power for what? To hoard like Mom? Or heal? Spring unfurled scandals anew. A whistleblower in my own ranks, Theo's nephew, skimming petty cash. I fired him publicly, but spared the family. Controversial mercy. Headlines screaming soft on corruption. Sarah's ghost judged from billboards. Her foundation's PSAs. Fight smart, not hard. I visited her grave monthly, wildflowers in hand. Chose you, I'd whisper. Now choose me, let go. The real twist dropped in June. Anniversary of the mug. A package. Dad's pocket watch, ticking steady. Inside, a note in his hand, dated weeks before the bridge. If I go, it's not accident. Protect them both, Nat. You're the bridge.
Bridge.
Not fighter, connector. Mom's lie, Voss's half-truth. Dad had suspected, planned his exit to expose them. This suicide? A feint, body dumped to force investigation. But no one dug. Mom's cover too tight. Rage reignited. I sued the NYPD for case files, cold case now, but mine to thaw. Detectives grumbled, but evidence surfaced. Brake lines cut, not crash. Harlan's prints on the wheel. Mom's appeal hearing loomed. I testified again, this time for leniency. She chose wrong, but for me. Jaws dropped, press frenzy. Reduced sentence. House arrest, our old Hamptons estate. Confrontation there, summer heat thick as unresolved sins. She on the veranda, gin fizz sweating.
Why?
Bridge, I said, watch chain glinting.
Dad's plan.
You derailed it. Her laugh cracked.
He was leaving anyway.
For you, to raise you clean. I couldn't lose.
Lose.
The root of it all. You lost us anyway.
Not you.
Never you. We sat in silence, waves crashing judgment. Mercy? Or manipulation's endgame? Fall brought alliance. Mom, paroled fully, joined the foundation as advisor, controversial hire, but her networks opened doors. We clashed, her old school cuts versus my transparency, but progress hummed. Jack stuck, too, grounding, his startup merging with the fund. You're building, not burning, he'd say, post-fight makeup sex a ritual. But tension peaked at the holiday board meet. Old guard pushed a merger, swallow a shady VC firm, Voss echoes. I vetoed, they revolted, shares dumped, stock dipped. Crisis mode. All-nighters, calls to allies. Mom stepped up, her Rolodex a weapon. Let me handle, she said. Deals struck, merger killed. Gratitude warred with wariness. Team, she asked. Truce, I countered. New Year's Eve, Brooklyn fireworks, Jax's arm around me. Mom texted, proud. Sarah's mug, repaired, gold cracks kintsugi, on the mantle. Second life, not perfect, but mine. The revenge? Evolved into reckoning. And in the quiet, Dad's watch ticks. Build the bridge, kid. The truce held through winter's chill, but truces are paper thin, tear under the right pressure, and the ink runs bloody. Mom's reintegration was a masterclass in controlled chaos. Hampton's estate wired with cameras, my call, post-Voss paranoia, her schedule a grid of therapy, board calls, and foundation galas. She played the reformed icon. Interviews with 60 Minutes, teary confessions of maternal missteps. Ratings gold, but I watched like a hawk, scenting the con. You're paranoid, Jack said one night, snow flurrying past the loft windows as we split a bottle of cab. His startup had folded into legacy partners, AI for fraud detection, ironic poetry, and he wore success like easy flannel, tattoos peeking from cuffs. Paranoid keeps you alive, I replied, scrolling alerts on my phone. A blip. Offshore ping from a Cayman shell, Voss remnant stirring. He pulled me close. Alive, but not living. When's the last time you laughed without strategy? I kissed him to shut it up, but the question lingered. Laughter, foreign as the cell's silence. Sarah's absence was the void, her chair empty at dinners, her perfume faint on scarves I couldn't toss. Spring thawed the ice, but unearthed landmines. The foundation's audit revealed discrepancies, petty but patterned. $50,000 funneled to Mom's personal expenses. Confrontation over brunch at Balthazar. Croissants crumbling like trust. Explain, I said, voice ice. Legal fees, she countered, pearls clicking. From the appeal. Borrowed against the estate. Lied on the books. Again. Her eyes flashed. Old fire. Survival, Natalie. You think prison taught me nothing? It taught me ethics. I stood. Repay or resign. She did both. Cash wired by noon, resignation drafted. But the rift widened, board whispers of family drama, stock jittery. Controversy crested at the annual summit, Davos light in Miami, sun-soaked schmoozing. I keynote on ethical capitalism, crowd-wrapped, until a heckler lobbed the grenade. Your mom's a felon. How's that for ethics? Mics captured my pause, the flinch. Clips went viral. Kensington hypocrite. Lena damage controlled. Op-ed in the Times, from felony to fairness. But the hit landed, investors pulled, a $200 million fund yanked. Jax rallied, double down. Transparency tour. We did, roadshow across flyover country. Des Moines, Tulsa, places mom's ilk called Heartland Hell. Town halls and community centers, me in jeans, spilling the saga unvarnished. I was framed, buried, reborn. Don't trust empires. Build them honest. Crowds connected. Farmers burned by scams. Teachers stiffed by pensions. Donations surged, small but mighty. Mom tagged along for one. Omaha, cornfields gold under July sun. She spoke after, voice steady. I failed my daughters. Don't fail yours. Applause thundered. A bridge moment. But bridges burn. August brought the leak. Emails from mom's old server, unearthed by hackers. Not Voss, internal. Her plotting with Theo. Natalie's too soft. We stage a crisis, force her out.
Dated post-parole.
Betrayal 2.0. I confronted Theo first, his clubby office on Park, cigars smoke thick. Explain. Protecting the legacy, he blustered. Your vendettas scare the street. My vendettas saved it. Fired on the spot, severance revoked. Mom next, Hamptons, storm brewing offshore. You, I demanded, waves mirroring rage. Contingency, she admitted. If you faltered. Like your father. Faltered. The word ignited. Dad faltered into the river. You're doing. She paled.
He jumped.
I encouraged. For all of us. Encouraged. Euphemism for shove. Testify. Full truth. Or, I bury you again. Her choice. Silence. Or so she thought. The decision gnawed. Public trial. Drag the corpse? Or private purge. Controversial calculus. Expose. Alienate allies. Bury. Breed resentment.
Eat chose fire.
Press conference on the steps of the courthouse. Rain lashing like judgment. New evidence in Richard Kensington's death. Murder, not suicide. My mother, accomplice. Files dumped online. Redacted for the innocent. Media storm. Helicopters over the estate. Mom vanishing into seclusion. Arrest warrant issued. She turned herself in, chin high. For the family, her statement read. Trial 2. Sweltering September. Courtroom a sauna of sweat and scrutiny. I didn't testify. Let the documents scream. Prosecutor star. A dive bar witness. Harlan's drinking buddy. Swearing to the push. Mom's defense crumbled. Jury out 2 hours.
Guilty.
Life, no parole. As guards led her away, our eyes met. No tears. Just truth. Bridge burned, she mouthed. I nodded. Endgame. Fallout reshaped everything. Fun stock soared. Infamy to icon. Jax proposed amid falling leaves. Rings simple silver. Build with me? Yes. Laughter returned. Tentative. But tension's ghost. Anonymous threats. Voslevs. Paranoia or ploy. Winter Gala, Legacy's biggest, met steps glittering. Eye in sapphire. Jax's hand steady. Then the shot, crack from the shadows, crowd screaming. Jax crumpled, blood hot on my gown.
Net så vitenskapelig.
Chaos. Security tackling a gunman. Theo's nephew, the petty thief, Voss's last pawn. Jax survived. Gut shot, but tough. Hospital vigil. Beeps and bleach, Mom's letter smuggled in. Finish it. For him. I did. Expose the network, Theo's cronies indicted. Fund ironclad now. Spring wedding. Small. Brooklyn rooftops, Sarah's mug as toast prop. Vows exchanged. Bridges rebuilt. But in quiet nights, watch ticking, I wonder. Was Mom's end choice for me? Or her final manipulation? Second life sharpens. Every gain a guarded fort.
Revenge?
Eternal vigilance. The wedding band weighed light on my finger, heavy in heart, as Jax recovered in a Tribeca penthouse, scars mapping his abs like new constellations. Bullet dodged, he'd joke, but his eyes held shadows, mirrors to mine. The fund hummed at peak. $5 billion AUM. Ethical audits the gold standard. I keynote Davos proper, standing where Mom once schmoozed, declaring legacy over loot. Applause deafened. Deals sealed in after-parties. Success's siren song, lulling but lethal. Mom's appeals dragged. Legal limbo. Her from a supermax in upstate now. Letters sparse. Recipes. Clippings of my wins. Proud fighter. I burned them. Ashes to wind. Closure's myth. Wounds suppurate. Summer scorched controversies anew. A class action suit from Voss victims. Kensington enabled. Lawyers circled. Lena barking orders. I settled. $100M. No admission. But the PR gutted. Protests at the office. Graffiti on Brooklyn walls. Blood money. Jack's push therapy. Couple sessions in a Soho brownstone. Shrink named Elias with wire rims and zero bullshit. Revenge cycles, he said. Break it, or it breaks you. I resisted, then relented. Sessions unearthed rot. Dad's encouragement from Mom. Her own father's script. Abusive oil baron who toughened her with belts and boardrooms. Cycle spun from Texas rigs to Manhattan towers. Forgive. Jax asked post-session, hand on my knee. Forgive the dead? Maybe. The living earn it. Fall brought harvest of twists. A cold case detective called. Dad's files cracked open by my dump. New lead. Witness on the bridge that night. A homeless vet who'd seen the push but silenced with payoffs. His testimony. Mom's hands on Dad's back. Harlan holding the wheel. Screamed for the girls as he went over.
Girls. Plural.
The ambiguity shattered. For Sarah, the insurance? Me, the heir? Or both? Twisted love's collateral. I visited Mom. Last time, plexiglass reinstated. Why both? She leaned close, voice tinny through speaker. You were the bridge, Natalie. Sarah the anchor. He would have sunk us, exposed everything, left you penniless fighters. I chose security. For legacies. Legacies built on graves. Her smile cracked. Yours thrives.
Mine?
Dust. Silence stretched. One question, I said. The mug. Why? Laughter, genuine. To remind you, okay's enough.
But you?
Always more. I left without goodbye. Her appeal denied days later. Health failing, cancer the final judge. She died in November, leaves blood red. Funeral private. Just me, Jax, a priest who droned platitudes. No tears, relief, raw. The estate? Donated to the foundation plaque. Victoria Kensington, flawed builder. Winter healed slow. Jax's startup boomed. AI sniffing fraud like bloodhounds. We talked kids. Mini fighters, he'd tease. I warmed to it. Ghosts fading. But tension's last gasp. A Voss holdout, nephew's uncle, suing for defamation. Trial in spring, Manhattan federal, jury of my peers or predators. I took the stand, unscripted. Full saga, mug to murder. This family's bloodied the ledger. No more. Cross-exam. Vindictive? Seeking control. Justice, I countered. Controls the poison. Verdict, dismissed. Cheers in the hall. Jax's kiss, salt sweet. Summer solstice. Our first anniversary. Central Park carousel. Sarah's haunt. I scattered wildflowers, whispered chose us. The watch ticked steady. Legacy partners hit unicorn status. IPO whispers. I stepped back, Jack's CEO, me chairwoman. Time for living. Road trips in a vintage Jag, Dad's nod. Therapy solo now, laughter unforced. Yet in dreams, the cell bars bend. Mom's voice echoes. Fight smart. Second chance's gift. Wisdom's edge. Epilogue dawn. Brooklyn Bridge at sunrise. Jack's beside. Hand on belly. Life stirring. The fighter evolves. Not just survivor, but sower. Revenge? Buried with the mug shards. What's left? A story American as apple pie and arsenic. Betrayal's bite. Redemption's bloom. And me? Natalie's fine. World's best.